Well, hello, my friends. It's Joni here at Joni's Journals. How is everyone doing today? I'm good. I went back to work yesterday for the first time since the end of May, beginning of June, and I was happy. I found out I'm in a new classroom with a new student, and that'll be just fine. It's going to be a great year. But before I went back to vacation, went back to school after vacation, I should say, I was watching my friend Dave at Dash of Dave. I'm going to link his channel in the description box below, and I am going to figure out how I can link the video. We'll get to that. First, I must say hello to some of my new subscribers and to one of my long-standing subscribers. Hello, Celeste. You know who you are. She is from Woodland Inspired, and she has a YouTube channel as well. I told you all about her a while ago, and some of you went over and subscribed. I have a new friend, Evie, and I also have my first member. I actually have a member on my channel, and my family giggled when I told them that I did. And I want to say hello to Renee. I can't figure out how to say hello to you, Renee, on YouTube under the memberships. I'm new at this. We'll get to it. But anyway, I was watching my friend Dave at Dash of Dave. He always comes out with the most magnificent makes, and I can't figure out where he comes up with them. But what he did come up with this time is what I'm calling a pocket page journal. And the reason that I'm calling it that, I'm going to move this out of the way. Yes, you can tell we are going to be using our scoreboards. Look at this. Of course, I had to play with Tim Holtz, and I've already picked out my paper dolls that I'm going to be decorating this little journal with. But look, it is a Chunky Monkey 5-page journal, okay? It's made with 8 sheets of 12 by 12, and that is what you would expect. You've got 5 nice pages here, but wait till you see this. When you flip it over on the other side, you also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pockets. And they work, people. And this tag's a little too short, but I'm going to show you that you have a pocket to tuck secret stuff in. That tag is going to get lost in there, but you know what I mean. How cool is this? Can you just imagine it with a bunch of tags, like with their little tops hanging out like this, and you can rearrange them? I haven't been able to get to that because I did have to go back to work. But like with all the pretty ribbons sticking out the side, oh my goodness, so pretty. So that is what I have come along today to show you how to make. I'm going to tuck all of my little people back in here, and I'm going to put this to the side for now. Now, in doing my first one, I didn't pay attention to Dave, and I'll explain at the end what I did wrong. You'll notice that this is actually a little patch here on my front cover, and a little patch here on my back cover, but I will explain what I did so you don't do it, okay? What you're going to need, like I said, you're going to need 8 12 by 12 sheets. Now, the reason I'm saying 8 is because you need 5 to create your pages, okay? I also, excuse me, I wanted to stay within the same theme, and so I pulled out extra pages to make my covers with, okay? I have all of this Tim Holtz paper sitting around, and I have those sheets left where you have the 4 6x6s and the however many 2x2s and all of that. So I figured I would use those up to make my covers, and so that's why I needed 8 sheets of 12 by 12. If you don't want to use 8 sheets of 12 by 12, you can make your cover whatever way you would like, but you definitely need 5 12 by 12s, okay? So what I'm going to do, I am going to pull out one of my 12 by 12s, and I am going to show you how we go about making the pages And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how we make the covers and how we make the extra tabs that we're going to need as well. Okay, so let me just move this stuff over here. I know something is going to end up falling on the floor, but that's okay. And I'm going to move this over just a bit and stand up just to check that I'm in shot. Okay, I'm using my new tripod and I'm a little further to the left on my desk than I normally would be. All right, let me explain something to you first off. If you are using directional paper, and this is a directional sheet of paper, what you're going to want to do, in addition to also making sure that your paper is facing up in the correct direction. If it's directional, you're going to want the top of your paper up at the top of your scoreboard, okay? Because this way, when you fold the whole thing and put it together, it'll be going in the proper direction, okay? That's the first thing. What was the second thing? Okay, that must have been it. I was trying to remember. I'm going to look at my little notes because I did make notes on my description. Yes, okay. After you make sure that you're going to, if your directional paper, the top is at this part, when we turn it, you're going to turn it 90 degrees to the right so that your top stays where it is. And you'll see why in just a second. Okay, I'm going to move this over here because I'm magnificent, but I can't always remember my scores. So what you're going to do, 12 by 12, top at the top, you're going to make a score at 3 1/8. Okay, that's going to be your very first score. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make, I have to fix my light. It is like shining in my face. What you're going to do next, you have your score at 3 1/8. You're going to make two little, what Dave called notches, okay, which is actually what they are. They're like a little marking point for where we're going to cut. So you have your score at 3 1/8. Then you're going to make a very small notch. Now, I make mine about 1 inch because I just do, all right? You're going to make a small notch or a 1-inch notch at 3 3/4. Then you're going to scoot across and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to make a little notch at 8 1/4. Okay, like I said, I make mine about 1 inch. And I'm going to make them deep on here so that hopefully when I show you the rest of this, you'll be able to see it. Score 3 1/8, notch 3 3/4, notch 8 1/4, and then you are going to score at 8 7/8. Okay, if you don't have a scoreboard like mine, and I would recommend that you get one because these are the best. 7/8 is the last notch just before you get to 9. All right, now we're going to turn our page 90 degrees to the right. This is the simple side. Excuse my dogs, they're playing. So you're going to hear them jingling because they're attacking each other. Okay, turn 90 degrees to the right. You're going to score at 5 1/2, okay? And I'm going to come down again because I like my score to be a little bit serviceable. And then you're going to score at 11, okay? So there we have all of our score marks, all right? I'm going to do one last sheet, and that is the last sheet that we're going to need for our pockets, and then I'm going to show you how to cut it because I'm going to go away. I'm going to ink all of this, and this way you'll be able to see what I'm doing a little bit better on camera. I am just going to tuck this over to the side and grab the next one. Now this one is non-directional, but you know, I mean, I guess it could be, you know, their faces are up here and stuff. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to score at 3 1/8. Okay, we're going to go right down the middle of some of their faces, like so. Oh, whatever part of your paper, in other words, if you're using two-sided paper like this looks like this on the back, whatever part of your paper you want to be showing on the outside once you create your pocket, I don't remember if I said this, you want that portion to be facing up when you're doing this, okay? Just wanted to make sure that I said that if I hadn't. All right, so we're scoring at 3 1/8. Then we are going to score, make our little notch, okay, at 3 3/4. Then we're going to make our next little notch at 8 1/4. Then we're going to make a full score at 8 7/8. Okay, and I'm going to come down a little bit further. I'm just going to make sure I've got all of these in here and turn 90 degrees. The top of your paper will now be on this side. Okay, this is the easy side. We're going to score at 5 1/2, and we are going to score at 11. All right, now I am going to put my scoreboard away, ink up all my papers, and I will be right back with you. Oops. I had pulled my light over because, you know, getting on in age, I'm getting a little blind. All right, we are back. And I have inked up my pages. Now, I realize that I am using extremely dark papers to make this journal, but you should be able to see the ink lines well enough for me to explain our next portion. Okay, if you remember when we scored, this was our 5 1/2" line, and this was our 11" line. And I hope you can see them. There's our little notches. I've inked, well, I inked one. Let me ink the other one. Okay, I have inked up the notches so that you'll be able to see what we do with those as well. So this is your 5 1/2" line. This is your 11" line. This is your 8 7/8 line. And this is your 3 1/8" line. What we're going to do. Now, for those of you that have followed me for a while, you know I can't cut a straight line to save my life unless I'm using my cutting board. All right. In this case, it doesn't really matter because it's not going to show. What you are going to do, this little notch right here, we're going to cut this out, okay? So I think if I got longer scissors, this would actually work out better, but I am going to cut just to the side of my score line, okay, on both sides, like so. You can already see it's not straight. Like I said, does not really matter, okay? So now I have cut on either side of my score line. I'm going to snip out that little piece. You can rip it, you can tear it, you can do whatever you want to it. I'm going to flip it around, and I am going to do exactly the same thing on this side, okay? So I'm going to cut alongside my score line, all right, on either side of the score line. All right, and this one is not straight either. Does not really matter. Like my friend Cara Renee Wolf says, we do not seek perfection in this craft room. Okay, and you're going to snip off that little part. So now you have something that looks like this. Okay, you have these two little cutout notches. They're not even, they're not the same. It's okay. What you are going to do now is you're going to turn your paper. And remember, you made these two little notches at the top. I'm hoping you can see them. You are going to cut straight down your notch. Okay, like so. And you're going to cut down this notch as well. I just want to stand up and make sure. Yes, you are seeing me. Okay. So now you've cut out both of your notches. Now what you're going to do is you're going to trim away this little piece here and this little piece here. You can save them if you want to. They would probably make great page tabs. I've been tossing mine out. Maybe I should have saved them, but I didn't. All right. So you're going to cut out that portion there. Okay. And then you're going to turn it and you're going to cut out that portion there. All right, I'm going to grab my other sheet and I'm going to show you this one more time, and then we will get to the folding. And again, you can see not straight. All right, I'm going to put this one to the side, And I'm going to grab this one. Now this one's even darker, so please bear with me. All right, 5.5-inch line, 11-inch line, 2 notches, 3 1/8, 8 7/8. Okay, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. We are going to cut along our score lines on either side of the score line, like so, and like so. All right, tear out our notch, and then, now you're gonna have to do this for 5 pages. Honestly, it may seem like it takes a long time, but it doesn't. I flew through the first 3 pages last night, making my demo for you so that we can put one of these all together. And probably, I want to say less than an hour. Okay, now we're up at the top. We're going to cut along 1 notch line. I already know it's not straight, so I'm just going to cut it a little bit more. And then we're going to cut along the other notch line. Remember, you're going to cut right on the notch line. We're going to cut off this piece here. And again, it's probably not going to be straight. Not going to worry. All right. Cut along that notch. Yeah, see, you can see it's not straight. I am not the person to cut a straight line. I am the person they invented paper cutters for. All right, and we're going to cut this piece off, and we are going to push it to the side. Now what you are going to do is you are going to flip this over, okay? And we're going to glue. Now you can see none of my lines are straight. Like I said, doesn't matter. Now you will notice one side's a little bit shorter than the other, and this is how we're going to glue our pockets together. So I'm going to grab my glue gun, which hopefully is working. You'd be very proud of me. I filled all of my glue bottles, including the one in my glue gun thing that I can't remember the name of, this morning before I even started. All right, you're going to fold these over. You're going to put a line of glue across here, like so. And you're going to flip the other flap over and push down. And make sure it's glued together. Like I said, they're probably not going to be straight. If you need them to be straight, you can fuss with that. I don't need them to be straight. They don't need to be straight for the project. Now we're going to glue the other one together, like so. We're going to do exactly the same thing. Flip it over, and we're going to push it down, okay? Now, while those 2 pieces are drying, you can do this in whatever order you want. I just happen to be doing it in this order. This is that little notch that you had left over. This is the area between those 2 little notches that you made. We're going to angle those pieces. So we're going to cut up from the bottom into the corner, make a little angle. We're going to do exactly the same thing on this side, okay? So now you have something that looks like this. This is going to fold over onto the other side, and this is why, like Dave said, we cut these areas out here, because if we hadn't, you'd have way too much bulk. So we're going to fold that over. We're going to take our little tab. We're going to fold that over. I am just going to ink these edges because you know me, I like everything nice and inky. And by inking all of my other score lines, all of my other edges are already inked. So it's a useful process if you like inking. Okay, just going to go over there. We're going to put this to the side. I'm going to grab the other one, and we're going to do it one more time. Okay. Flip them over. Yes, they're not straight. Doesn't matter. We're going to get our glue gun. Okay, we're going to put some glue across there. Flip it over. Push down. Okay, and do the same thing on this side. All right. Put glue. And then we're gonna push down like so. Okay, there we go. We're gonna flip it over, make sure everything is okay. And you can see, you know, your papers are relatively facing in the right direction. And then we're gonna snip off our corners, okay, like so. All right, and we're gonna pull that off and pull that off. I'm gonna ink these edges, and there we go. Now we have 1, 2, let me grab my other ones that I did last night, or I should say this morning. I was doing this at midnight. 3, 4, 5 pages, okay? Now what you're going to do is you're going to need extra notches or flaps in order to connect your pages correctly. So what you're going to do is you are going to take a piece of cardstock, whatever. I had scraps left over from when I was making my little tags. I used those. It's fine. Use whatever you want. You're going to take and you're going to cut it to be 2.5 inches wide, 4.5 inches long. You're going to either score or fold at 1.25 inches so that you end up with something that looks like this. Okay, then what you're going to do on each one is you're going to cut a little bit of a corner off to kind of make it more like a little bit of a tab. Okay, so you're just going to take it and you're going to flip that corner off. You're going to end up with a piece that looks sort of like this. All right, I'm going to put that one to the side. I'm going to show you one more time. 2.5, 4.5. Score or fold at 1.25. Okay, and you're going to cut off your little corners and create a flap. Okay, there we go. Now we have all of our flaps set and ready to go. You need 1, 2, I don't know if I said this, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those, okay? And I'll show you why, because this is how we're also going to attach our pockets to our covers, all right? Now you're going to take your 5 pages that you constructed, and you're going to take them and you're going to start gluing them together, okay? I'm going to be picky and try to decide which pages I want where. I'm going to kind of separate mine so that none of them are, you know, maybe a little bit darker or a little bit lighter. And you're going to begin to glue them together. So this flap here is going to go inside this little opening right here. Okay, so it's going to look like that once you start putting it together. And we're going to be repeating that process with all 5 pages. All right, in order to do that, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to take your page and your little flap, and you're going to put a decent amount of glue. You don't want it to ooze out all over the place. You want it to be enough to hold it, but not enough to make a mess, okay? And you're going to put your flap on, and I'm going to make sure some of these are a little stuck together. Okay, we have this piece like this. Here's your piece with your flap. Here's your other one. You're going to take this flap, and very easily, you're going to fold it over, and you're going to slip it inside of the pocket. Okay, we're going to bring it up, stand it up, push it in from the side, make sure it's even. We're going to push down like so. We're going to make sure we didn't glue our inside pocket together, and we're good. We're going to move along to the next one. We're going to put our glue on here like so. Okay, go all the way along. All right, grab our next pocket, take our flap, stick it inside of that pocket. Can you see what I did? All right, it's inside of the next pocket. And we're going to do that. We're going to push down. We're going to lay it down. Next one, okay? We're going to glue all the way, okay, like so. Grab our next one, slip this inside, okay, like so. I'm gonna make sure these are even, and they are pretty good. Okay, I want to do it from this side too. Make sure they're even. Okay, next one. Okay, open it up, make sure it's not glued together. You can see I have one oddball that totally doesn't go with the theme. That was an extra one from the one that I made, that I showed you at the beginning of the video. Okay, flip it over, stick it inside, push it down, tap, tap, and tap. Okay, so now you have the basic construction of your journal. But now you might be saying, well, wait, it's not working right. That's why you created the flaps, okay? You're going to grab one of your flaps. Oh, come on. I try to stack to be nice and neat. You're going to grab one of your flaps, and you're going to begin to glue together your other pockets, okay? So what you're going to do in this case is you're going to take your little homemade flap and you're going to put glue on both sides of your little, Dave called it a something hexagon, I don't remember. So you're going to put glue on both sides. All right, this is where it can get a little flippy flappy, but we can do it. And you're going to take your open pocket and your other open pocket. You're going to hold them together. You're going to slide your little flap over both edges, okay? You're going to push down and you're going to squeeze it together, okay? Did you see what I did there? There's our extra little flap that we invented. We're going to take the next two that are open and we're going to connect them in the same way. So let me grab another flap, okay? And we're going to put glue on here, like so. I am trying to get this video done in as few takes as possible. And by that, I mean stopping and starting. Okay, so we have our next two open pockets, all right? Same thing. We're going to slide that flap in and over, okay? You can be anal and try to match up all of your flaps if you'd like. And there we have the next one. Grab the next one, okay? And then we're going to do this. We're going to put glue all along. I'm going to get a little bit sloppy because it doesn't matter. The glue will squeeze, all right? And do it again, okay? And we're going to, whoop, see, I missed. Slide it down inside. Glue the two of them together. And then we have our last two to do, okay? I'm going to grab another, like so. And I'm keeping this going just so in case I'm going at a weird angle and you can't really see what I'm doing, you'll see at some point. Okay, did I get these? Nope. See, this is our next pair here. Okay, we don't want to skip anybody. Turn it over. Glue these flaps together. And then finally, we have our last pair of pockets to glue together. And I'm going to do this. And then we're going to we're still going to use our very last flap because that, like I said, those little flaps are how we connect our journal to our covers. Okay, so we have one more to go to connect the pockets. I'm going to grab it up. I'm going to slide this tab down in here. Okay, I'm going to squeeze like so. So now this should work. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, your very last flap, like I said, is going to be the flap that you use to connect your journal to your covers. You see, we have one here that came along with what we made. We need one more, okay? And so I'm just going to ink this one just a little bit, okay, before I glue it in. Because when you glue your flaps down inside of your journal, this edge is going to show. And I'm just going to ink this corner here on the inside. I had already inked the outside, okay? So now what you're going to do, again, your very last pocket that doesn't have a flap, we're going to glue this one in and we're going to make a flap. You're only going to put glue on one side of your flap now. All right, we're going to go like this, and I can see my glue is getting clogged inside of my glue gun. Okay, now you're going to slide it in. This one, you want to try to be a little bit anal maybe and kind of center it. And you're going to slide it in, and you're going to push it down. So now you have the additional flap that you need. And let's go back and make sure that none of this is stuck together, okay? That portion of all of this is done. I'm just going to sweep all of this out of the way. We're going to put this aside for now, and we're going to come back to it, okay? Now what you want to do is you want to create your cover. Dave used chipboard or something just a little bit lighter than chipboard. I can't cut chipboard on my paper cutter. I use instead 120-pound cardstock, okay? It works out perfectly fine. If you look here, the cover on this journal is just perfectly fine with 120-pound cardstock. It'll work. If you have someone that can cut chipboard for you, my husband would happily do it for me, but I didn't get a chance to ask him yesterday, okay? What you are going to need, because your book is now, okay, your book is, let me turn this over because I did make all of the measurements. Your book is, let me get my ruler. Your completed book is 5.5, okay? This is the side of your book. Now, depending on which cover you want to be the cover, okay, the sides with the flap is the side of your book, okay? So the width of your journal, as it stands now, is 5.5. I want a little bit of an overhang on both sides, on all sides of my journal. You're going to have an overhang on the top, this side, and then the bottom. Okay, 5.5, decided that I'm going to make my cover 6 inches wide. Okay, now we're going to flip it. Well, no, let me do it this way. And your journal is 5 3/4 inches tall. Okay, so it's 5.5 by 5 3/4. All right. My cover, the way I want it, because I want only a little bit of an overhang, I'm going to bring to 6 inches by 6 1/4 inches. Okay, that's going to give me enough of an overhang, enough play in my cover to fiddle with it a little bit if I need to. So I have cut my covers, my base of my covers, to be 6 1/4 inches tall and 6 inches wide. Now, this is important. If you are using directional paper, make a little arrow on your cover so that you know which way is facing up. In my case, although this isn't truly directional, most of these items that are on here, I'm reading this way, okay? So this is technically the top of my paper, okay? Now, this is your inside. This is the sturdy part of your cover. In order to make your decorative papers, you're going to need a sheet of paper. And this is why I used 8 pieces of cardstock. Probably wasteful, but I was left with more. I was left with these 2 pieces plus a lot of extra that I can use in future projects. All right? Okay. Your decorative piece is going to be 7 1/4 inches tall. Remember, if this is directional, make sure your top is at your top. 7 1/4 inches tall and 7 inches wide. Okay. Now I've already glued these because I figured I'd save time. You're going to take your little cover pieces and you're going to center them as best as you can inside of your little decorative paper. And then what you're going to do is, because you, again, want to reduce bulk, like when we cut out those lines, you're going to trim off your corners. You're going to come just to the corner of your little cover, okay? And you're going to snip. You're going to do that all the way around, come just to the corner without cutting off that corner. See, we have that little space right there? None. Okay. And we're going to do that all the way around on all 4 corners, like so. Do they have to be straight? No. We're going to do the same thing on here. You can see this one's not in the center. It doesn't really matter. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So now you have your covers look like this. Now, if you've made covers before, you'll know how this works. All right? What you're going to do is you're going to fold these edges over now, okay? And push them down. Go around on all 4 sides and push them down. You can get out your bone folder, which I am probably going to do. All right, like so. Turn it, fold it over, and push it down. Because this is heavy cardstock, if you make yours from a lighter cardstock, then you won't need to worry. And then we're going to fold this last one over like so. And we're just going to push it down to make it nice and flat. Okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to grab your glue gun, which is hopefully working. And let me get my little handy dandy straight pin here, which I do not use in any of my bottles of glue because it is not stainless and it rusts. And let's just make sure that that is cleaned out, and it is. Now what you're going to do, you're going to put glue all along here, like so, and come back, and the glue, yep, there we go. Okay, we're going to glue. Don't want too much. We don't want to make a mishmash mess. And we're going to push down. And we're going to hold it. Okay. We're going to move on to the next one. And we are going to glue down. So how has everyone been? Like I said, yesterday was my first day back at work, back at school. No kids yet. They come in on Monday. Okay. But we had meetings and trainings and stuff like that, and getting to know some of the new people that were hired and looking around to see who is missing. And I realized when I got home last night that one of the lovely ladies that I had worked with last year and actually had lunch and snack with, we happened to run into each other at the same time. I didn't see her at the meeting. I'll have to go in and ask the principal what happened to her. All right. Okay. Now we're going to glue down this side. I am going to complete this one, and I'm going to go ahead and finish the other one off camera so that we're not going at this for 3 hours. All right. We're going to push down. Okay. Now here's the important part, and this is why you wanted to make sure that you remember which one was the top. If you're using directional paper, you want your inside cover to be correct too. All right? Well, this one's more directional than this one, but I wanted to make sure that this was facing up. Now let's see, do I want this one on this one? Let's see, or do I want, yeah, I think we'll do it that way. All right, now what you're going to do is you're going to have cut, and I forgot to tell you this, an extra piece of cardstock, decorative cardstock, that is exactly the same size as your cover. So it's 6 1/4 by 6, and we're going to use this, and we're going to cover up all the ickies on the inside, okay? So I am going to put glue along here, maybe. Oh, there we go. And I'm going to glue. You want to get the glue as close to the edges as possible because you really don't want your edges to pop up. Okay, so we're going to glue, and we're going to glue. We're going to glue on all 4 sides like so. Then I'm just going to make one across the center and across the center like this. And then I'm going to put some glue all across here. This is heavy cardstock, so you won't really see any buckling like you might if you were using a lighter weight cardstock. And then we're going to take this decorative piece and we are going to lay it right over our other piece of our cover. And we're going to make sure it's straight, and we're going to push down. And now we have our cover constructed. This is the outside, this is the inside. Okay, I'm going to go along and I'm going to do the same thing with the other cover, and I will be right back with you as soon as I am done. Okay, we are back, and both of our covers are made, okay? This is what I am choosing to be my front cover. This is the one we did together. This is the one I'm choosing to be my back cover, and this is the one that I did without you. I don't know if you can tell, but I went along and I inked all of the edges while I was gone. Okay, front cover, back cover. Now we're going to bring back our pages that we made. Now this is where I made my big boo-boo, okay? I glued my first one together and I said, oh, how cute would it be if I left a little edge on this side and I left a little edge on that side. It didn't work. I had to rip the whole thing apart because I couldn't get it to open properly so that it laid sort of flat. This is a very thick journal because I'm using very heavy cardstock, but that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to have something with all of my little Tim Holtz stuff on it because I tend to treat these as more of an art journal than an actual journal. And that's overall when I make something like this, the way that I do most of them. And I'm going to probably go in and do some decorating on these pages and make it sort of fun to look at. You can see this one, when I decorated this one, I grabbed out these ladies and I went, wow, wouldn't it be cute if I made them all fairies? So I just picked up things and I started gluing and I put it down and it was great, which I would do with you guys, but sometimes it takes a little longer and I know that those videos don't go over well, so I'm not going to do that. All right. Now, if you remember, you had your journal and it was 5 1/2 by 5 3/4, okay? The flaps are the side of your journal. So what you're going to do is you're going to take it and you're going to do your best to kind of center it on here, like so. You can see better than I can at this point. And I'm just going to turn mine over and I'm going to say, okay, well, that works. That's the way I want it. But now, because I used semi-directional, really non-directional, and because everything is on its side, I'm also going to say, well, which do I want to be my front page? I'm choosing this one, okay? This is my back cover, so we're going to glue our back page to our back cover. And what you're going to do, and this is probably, you're probably all going, oh, I've got it now. You're going to put glue on this flap here, like so. Go all the way around, okay? I overglue, it'll be fine, not a biggie. You're going to center it again, like I said, top to bottom, all right? And you're gonna push your flap down like so, all the way up to the edge of your cover. All right, don't be a Joni. All right, and you're going to push this down. Now, if it bothers you that your flap is not the same color as your page, go over it. Put something else there. I did it as a boo-boo to cover up my boo-boo, but I ended up liking the way it looked, so I may do that. And you can also make a pocket out of it. In other words, if I take this piece, well, this is too big, and I want to cover this like so and say that's what I want to be the inside, okay? I can cut this in half and then I have a little bit of a pocket, okay? So now you have your journal glued to your back page, and I'm just hoping I have a little playroom because I noticed it's a little bit crooked. Maybe not. Okay. And then you're going to do the same for your front cover. You're going to put glue all along this flap, like so. Okay, and my glue is not making me happy right now. I haven't used this bottle of glue in a while. I've been using my PVA. This is my Nuvo glue. And let me just see. Is it my eyes or is it crooked? I think it's my eyes. It could be the paper too. The illusion sometimes you get from a paper makes things look crooked. Okay, so now this is your front flap. This is your front cover. You're going to glue it down all the way to the edge, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand this up, and I am going to make sure that everything is even. I'm going to do it this way, push down, turn it over, push down like so, and there is your journal, your pocket page journal with 5 pages and 10 pockets. Okay, guys? Oh, I better push this back together again. I just noticed I played around with it too soon before the glue had taken. But there you go. I really, really, really want to thank Dave for this yet another spectacular idea. He has another one that I want to do too with you. I haven't made mine yet. I'm a little trepidatious to use a $5 word. It's really simple, but I just haven't had time to sit down and figure it out. So there you go, okay? Here was my test run, which, like I said, I did make a boo-boo when I glued my edges together. And I am just going to have all the fun in the world decorating this. And you might be saying, oh my God, look at all that Tim Holtz paper. But you know what? It's sitting in a drawer. At least this way I can go, wow, that's so pretty. And then I can decorate it. Okay? So I am going to send you lots and lots of love. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I might have 1,600 subscribers soon. Pretty cool. Okay, I hope to be back tomorrow. Tracy has out a brand new kit, which is just spectacular. I'm going to see if I have time to do a video tomorrow morning. I actually got to do this one this morning because my husband had to run out and finish up a job. And my daughter is up visiting the boyfriend. So yeah, all right, I'm going to send you lots of love, big hugs, and ask you please to remember to like, subscribe, and comment. The liking and the commenting and, of course, the subscribing helps all of us out. I'm going to link Dave's channel. I'm going to figure out a way to link the video because I have 2 ways to upload to YouTube. One of them usually has the hiccups, and so I try not to do it that way, but I might have to. Okay, so hi again to Evie and Celeste and Christine. And, of course, my new member, Renee, thank you again. And I'm saying hello again because I can't figure out how to do it on YouTube. And I will see all of you soon. Take care for now. Bye-bye. Love, hugs. See you soon. Thank you again for watching.